Welcome to the most unprofessional sports program in the world, The Bobby Drew Show, your trusted source for everything sports, with your sports experts, David, Brian, and Bobby Drew. Let's go.
Welcome to the Bobby Drew Show. I'm your host, Bobby Drew, of course. We got Brian in the studio with us, our virtual studio. David's over there as well. We're all here to bring you your fantasy football news. And we did post a poll earlier, and it said, would you rather have Evan Ingram or Travis Etienne? Dave, was it Dave? Dave, you said you'd rather have Ingram. Brian, you said you would like to have Etienne. I went completely out of that. I said I would like to have the Christian Kirk. But the poll says that everybody would love to have Travis Etienne. So everybody's siding with you, Brian. I did talk with somebody over the week. We were talking fantasy football, and they are a Jacksonville Jaguars fan. And they said that they believe that Travis Etienne is going to have a fall-off year. Brian, do you want 10 seconds to respond to that?
Yeah. Jacksonville Jaguars don't even have any fans, and that guy's wrong.
Oh, man. Perfect. Good response. That's the shortest response Brian's ever given to anything. I like it.
Right on. To the point. I love it.
Yeah. You should do that more often, Brian. I like that very much. We've been going through a lot of teams here. So leading up to our draft, of course, I think our league only has like 42 days left until draft, coming up pretty quick. And so we're going through offenses. We're trying to each pick one player from those offenses, which is actually pretty hard when you have to pick one player from every offense. And when some of these offenses are pretty bad, they're just not good. We've had some tough ones. I think there was some, David, you said, I'm not picking nobody. And I was going back looking at some of the videos, and you're like, yeah, I'm not picking nobody. I'd rather have the kicker or something like that, because we know Dave's favorite player on fantasy football is all the kickers. But we got 5 more teams we're going to do here on the show. So let's get it started with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, very interesting. They have Russell Wilson and Justin Fields in the QB room. Who's going to start? We can all take a guess. We think it's going to be Russell Wilson. We shall see. We don't know yet, but I think we can be safe saying it's going to be Russell Wilson. We got Jalen Warren and Najee Harris in the backfield, George Pickens, Van Jefferson as the main wide receivers, with a list of, the whole NFL could possibly play for the Pittsburgh Steelers as wide receiver right now. And then we have Pat Freiermuth as the tight end. All right, interesting offense here. We're not talking about football. We're talking about fantasy football. And Dave, I want to start with you. Out of that offense, who are you looking at? Who would you pick if you had to pick somebody from that offense?
Listen, I think you forgot to make one very important note about this is the Steelers have a brand new play caller. Do you know who it is?
No.
Come on. It's your favorite guy.
Oh, is it Staley?
It's Arthur Smith.
Oh, no way.
Well, don't pick a Steeler running back.
I
thought that guy got banned from the league.
He got banned from Atlanta. Listen, I think Russell Wilson's going to beat out Justin Fields, at least to start the season off. That's probably more of what everybody expects too. I would say avoid Russell Wilson at all costs on your fantasy team.
Really?
I mean, unless you're
at all costs.
Well, at all costs, yes. Come on.
All right,
He's a mess.
Let's start with a pick right here. All right, Dave, ready for this? Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson?
Deshaun Watson.
Oh, wow.
Hey, hang on. Well, Arthur Smith is known for running the ball too. I think the Steelers are kind of a mess. I would say Najee Harris is what? Why are you laughing?
Dave, did you say Arthur Smith is known for running the ball?
Isn't he?
No.
Oh, did you see?
No.
Yes, he
Bijan
is.
last year? Bijan Robinson was like the greatest thing ever, and he never ran him.
Yeah, but listen, what he's known for is not getting the ball into his playmakers' hands.
Oh my God.
Go ahead, Dave. Continue with who you're picking for the Steelers.
I want to go second. Why are you coming to me first?
I was just picking somebody. All right.
You guys are picking on me. I'm picking George Pickens.
You're picking George Pickens?
Yes. You want to know why?
Go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, why?
I don't know.
Is he good?
I don't know. I'm mad at you guys right now.
What?
Just keep on moving. Go ahead, Brian.
All right. Well, I'm a Patriot fan, so I would never pick a Steeler. But if I have to, I think I would pick Warren, the running back. I just think Najee Harris he's done. I mean, Freiermuth might be an okay tight end. I'd have to look. How is Arthur Smith with like tight ends and stuff, and would Russell Wilson use him more? Is Russell Wilson known for using his tight ends? I don't think so, but so I mean, for me, it's just Warren, and Freiermuth would be like a second one for me.
So, looking at the Atlanta Falcons last season under Arthur Smith, this was their fantasy output. They, collectively as a team, they brought in 41.1 points per game in total. The QB only had 4.1, but we do know that Arthur Smith is going to be working with at least a more competent QB than what he had in Atlanta. So that should go up. Running backs averaged 20.3 points per game under Arthur Smith. Wide receivers at 10 and tight ends at 6.6. Now, the Steelers last year as a team, they weren't doing too hot. They brought in 39.2 points per game. The QB averaged 0.
I have a question.
Yes.
You were busting my chops earlier over me saying Arthur Smith is known for running the ball. Was I wrong? Why?
He makes very bad choices with his running backs, yes.
Because he was running the ball with everybody but Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. He's known for running the ball.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
What did I say? I want to go back. I need to look at the tape.
We just like laughing at you. That's all. It was just fun to laugh at you.
You're making me question myself, and I don't like that.
It was the irony, Dave, that you said Arthur Smith is known for running the ball when, in fact, last season he was known for not running the ball with Bijan Robinson, and that's why everybody wanted him fired. Yeah. Bijan Robinson, I think, threw a touchdown before he ran a touchdown. I think is what happened. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, they averaged 20.4 points with running backs, 13 with wide receivers, and 5.8 with tight ends. You would think with Russell Wilson under the helm, all that should go up. They should have a more productive offense. Now, Russell Wilson went to Broncos. Okay, that was a dumpster fire. There was just a lot going on there. I don't know. But I think he's going to have a better run with the Steelers, or he should. I think he's got more talent, better coaches around him. But that still makes it very tough for fantasy football. George Pickens, I think, is a good pick, Dave. He's going to be the number one there. He's got a lot of talent. I had Jaylen Warren last season. Jaylen Warren, he was decent as a flex for me. If I had to pick here for anything, if Russell Wilson is under the helm, I'm going to take George Pickens from this offense as well. I think Russell has a good arm. He's still got some juice in it. So I would take George Pickens. See, Dave, we're on the same page.
Yeah, listen, to be fair, also Najee Harris. Brian, you said you would stay away from Harris. He's supposedly playing for a contract this year, but he's had at least the last 3 seasons, he's rushed for 1,000 yards at least. 7 touchdowns at least. I wouldn't make him he wouldn't be my first pick in the draft as far as running back is concerned. But you think he's going to be you think Jaylen Warren's going to have a better year?
Well, it's not that. Like, numbers are skewed now, too, guys. A 1,000-yard rusher used to be a big deal, but they play 17 games now. So that's like 70 yards. You know what I'm saying? Back when it was 14, games that they played, 1,000 was legitimate. But they're playing 17 games now. But Najee Harris is like, he's the bruising back. He's the Mike Allstott. Warren is like the Ward Dunn, like back in the day when the Bucks had WD-40. Like, that's the kind of backs they are. I just think Warren is he can hit the hole and he's gone. Like Najee Harris, I think, can get caught a lot easier than Warren would if he was breaking free.
I think George Pickens probably be your safest bet off of this team because it really doesn't matter who the quarterback is going to be. He's going to thrive.
No, I think if Justin Fields was the quarterback, Pickens' numbers might not be so good.
Well, the interesting thing between Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren, the rushing numbers are pretty close. Warren averaged more yards per carry, but Najee got more attempts on the season. But the main difference between the two of them is the catching. Najee Harris had 29 catches for 170 yards, and then Jaylen Warren had 61 catches for 371 yards. So if you're in a full PPR league, then Jaylen Warren is going to be the guy that you want. He had 149 attempts rushing compared to Najee had 255. So Najee is the ground back. He's the workhorse on the ground. But that was last season, like you said, Dave. They do have a new play caller. So with Arthur Smith, anything is possible.
I love how he drove you crazy last year.
That's the thing. Like, okay, if Najee is the guy, do we pick him?
He's not going to get the ball, apparently.
He's not going to get the ball.
Pick the other guy.
And if we think Warren's the guy, is he going to get the ball?
Jeez.
I don't know. But George Pickens, I think, is the safer route here. That's all I can. The Steelers, I'm not really going after a lot of them.
Nope, they're trash.
Anything else?
Nope. Moving on.
Next. All right, let's move on to the Denver Broncos.
I'm all ears, Dave. I'm all ears.
We have a QB battle going on here. We have Bo Nix and Zach Wilson. There is, what is it? Is it Zach Stidham or whatever his name is?
Jared Stidham.
Yeah, he's not. It's not. It's between Bo Nix and Zach Wilson, in my opinion. You got Javonte Williams and Samaje P. Ryan at the running back. We have Cortland Sutton, Josh Reynolds, and Marvin Mims Jr. as the wide receivers. And then you have Adam Troutman and Greg Dulcich as the tight end. Not a bad-looking offense as far as the skill positions go. Quarterback's going to make a big difference. Brian, do you want to go first on this one?
Nope. Dave's all about the Broncos, so it's his floor.
Listen,
I'm a long guy.
I gave the teaser. I gave the teaser this week that the Broncos are going to be scary this year. They are going to be scary to look at. Now, that doesn't mean scary good, Brian. Okay. See, I know what you were thinking. That they're going to be scary. Watch out for the Broncos because here they come. No. It's the best thing that the Broncos have going for them is their head coach. Okay? No, let me say this, and I'll tell you why. Because just hear me out. When I say the best thing they have going for them is their head coach, because he is known for what he did back in where was he? The Saints, New Orleans.
Yeah, cheating. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all that stuff. It made him good. And listen, I don't believe in cheating, and I don't want anybody to cheat, and I don't believe in cheating unless it's me doing it. And so it helps me win. But listen, he's already been there a little bit. Is he going to turn this team around? I doubt it. Your best, I'm going to tell you right now, Bobby Drew, all of our tens of fans out there, your best fantasy option on the Broncos is kicker Will Lutz. Okay? But I will tell you right now, his 3-year average fantasy points per game is only 6.9 points per game. The takeaway from this is, listen, don't draft anybody from the Denver Broncos. I'm sorry, not this year. Stay away.
All right, that's one of those
Scary. I'm telling you, scary, Brian.
That's
I
one
got
of those
nothing.
zero picks for Denver, Dave.
Nope.
I mean,
Nope.
All right,
I'm not
Brian,
picking anybody, not even Will Lutz.
Nope.
Brian, nobody.
Nope. I'll pick a Carolina Panther before I pick a Denver Bronco.
What about you, Bobby Drew? Who do you like? I know you think the Broncos are going to be good this year.
You know,
No.
if I have to pick somebody,
Just don't pick them.
I got it.
Leave it empty.
If I got to pick somebody, I believe the Denver Broncos will be playing from behind all year long. So I believe they're going to be passing the ball a lot. So I'm going to take Cortland Sutton. If I had to pick anybody, he played 16 games last season. He only had 59 catches for 772 yards, but he had 10 touchdowns. That's where all of his points came. And that guy, Brian, benefited from those 10 touchdowns because I feel like he didn't score touchdowns until he had him on his team. And then when he got him on his team, he started scoring touchdowns.
That's right.
And then got off his team, he stopped scoring touchdowns. That's how it kind of
worked.
So if I had to pick somebody, that's who I'm going at. But Javonte Williams, interesting. He's injury prone. But outside of that, there's not really much going on. I would say if Bo Nix is the starter, I would enjoy watching a Denver Bronco game to see how Bo Nix does. Outside of that, I'm not watching a Denver Bronco game unless we're playing the Packers, of course.
Of course.
All right, well, let's move on. We took the trash out. We talked about the Denver Broncos. Let's go Seattle Seahawks. All right, Geno Smith, still the QB there in Seattle. Interesting running back room. We got Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. Wide receivers, of course, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. And then we got Jackson Smith and Jigba. And then the tight end is Noah Fant. All right. I can give you guys some stats on the Seattle Seahawks real quick. So the Seattle Seahawks last season actually had a very good offense compared to others that we've talked about so far. They came in at number 11 fantasy-wise. They averaged 64.1 points per game, 13.9 from the QB position, 16.1 from the running back, 30.7 from the wide receivers, and tight end, not much going on there, 3.4. So with those things in mind, Pete Carroll's out of there. He's no longer coaching them. We'll see if there's any changes, play calling, stuff like that. But Pete Carroll's not there any longer. With those names mentioned, knowing what you know from last season, what do you got? Who would you pick from the Seattle Seahawks? Brian?
Oh, I would take DK. He's just a stud. I don't know, like the running backs. I don't know. Kenneth Walker was used, then he wasn't. And then Charbonnet was used, and then he wasn't. So, like for fantasy, I don't want to get somebody that I'm not sure. But to me, I think a sure bet is Metcalf, and the sleeper is Lockett because that guy. I mean, he had games last year. I think he put up in the upper 30s a couple times. Tyler Lockett, But for me, Geno is just like a end of the draft quarterback or like a fill-in bye week quarterback. But some people might love him. Some people might draft him in the third round. Who knows? I mean, Geno Smith could be that guy. So if you want to draft him in the third round, go right ahead. Be my guest. It could win you a championship.
Is Geno Smith a little more enticing to somebody because of Metcalf or Tyler Lockett? Thinking, you may not be my favorite quarterback, but because he's got those guys.
Yeah. Yep. So go ahead, pick him up.
Brian, would you rather have Russell Wilson or Geno Smith?
Russell Wilson.
Wow, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the Seattle Seahawks never mind.
This is my opinion. That's who I would rather have. It may be a dumb call. I mean, the rest of you guys probably should draft Geno Smith. I mean, he could be great. Draft him in the second or third round. That would be a smart pickup.
Or the first round.
Yeah.
Do that.
One overall.
Do that. Everybody in our league.
Geno Smith, 101.
second pick of the first round.
Yep. Surprise.
Dave, who are you getting off the Seattle Seahawks?
I read an article earlier from CBS Sports or something. It was talking about Noah Fant. Was basically he's risky to pick up as your tight end, but they were talking about the week 1 matchup is against the Denver Broncos, who last year they couldn't do anything against the tight ends, and they didn't do anything so far in the offseason to improve that. So this article was saying that Noah Fant could be your week 1 sleeper. Pick him up, let him have just a ball-out week, and then trade him right after that. And trade him on the high right after that. So I don't know, how many leagues are you guys in? Do you have one of those garbage leagues that you're just in because whatever? Try it out. See what happens.
No offense.
But I agree with Brian. I like DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett. I mean, that's a solid choice.
Noah Fant, the only stat that Noah Fant had going for him last season was that he averaged 12.9 yards per catch. He only had 32 catches for 414 yards. So he played all 17 games, or he played all 17 games. So he averaged like 2 catches a game. But he averaged 12.9 yards per catch. So
use him. Come on.
That's crazy. And no touchdowns. He had no touchdowns on the season. But going off what you guys are saying, the wide receiver room is probably the most enticing one. DK ended at wide receiver 21, and Tyler Lockett ended up as wide receiver 32. So they weren't astounding numbers, but if you had to pick somebody from this offense, I do like those guys. You know, Kenneth Walker, his first season was phenomenal. He had a great season. Kind of fell off last year. He only played 15 games and averaged 13.3 points per game, and he only had 8 touchdowns. So he had 1 receiving touchdown as well, but only 29 catches, so pretty irrelevant in the passing game. If I had to pick somebody from this offense, I'm going to go Tyler Lockett. I know DK is one of those guys, if you're in a PPR league, he's going to get you those, you know, he might have 8 catches a game, 7 catches a game. I like Tyler Lockett for his deep threat. If I can get, let's see, we're in a full PPR, so if I can get a 70-yard touchdown pass every like 2 or 3 games, I'll take that all day long.
Yep.
So you guys pick DK. I'll take Tyler Lockett.
What about what's the stats on Smith? How do you say his last name?
Njigba.
Yeah.
So he came in as wide receiver 47. He averaged 8.8 points per game, 63 catches, 628 yards. He had 4 touchdowns and averaged 10 yards per catch.
Interesting thing about him is that their new play caller, Ryan Grubb, I read a report, in each of his past 3 years, he's dialed up at least 170 targets to the slot receiver, which is likely where he's going to be lining up, considering that you got Metcalf and Lockett, you know, sharing catches or whatever.
Yeah.
That could be something interesting to look at. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Jason is a true wide receiver 3 on that roster, and I think if you are in a deep league, like we play in a 12-person league, if we're in a deep league like that, and he's there, you know, toward the end of the draft, I'm going to take him, because if DK goes down or Tyler Lockett goes down, he instantly gets upgraded and he has a lot of value. So, and not only that, he's going to be producing points on the bench anyway. So if somebody else gets in a pickle and they need a wide receiver really bad, I can trade him, get something else out of him. So that's who I would take for the Seattle Seahawks. All right, guys, 3 down, right? Yes, 3 down, 2 more to go. The Atlanta Falcons. This is
scary, Brian. Scary.
This is a very, very interesting offense. First of all, is Kirk Cousins starting week 1? Do we know that? Does anybody know that?
I haven't seen
questionable.
No clue. I haven't seen any reports.
So the Falcons, we have Kirk Cousins. Once he's healthy, he will be the starter. They did give him a lot of money. So he better be getting healthy. All right. After that, we have Michael Penix Jr. and Taylor Heineke. We don't know anything about Michael Penix Jr. outside of his college days. Taylor Heineke has proved that he's a formidable backup quarterback, that he can hold the fort down until Kirk Cousins is ready. Outside of that, we have Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier in the backfield. As wide receivers, the only two worth mentioning are Drake London and Darnell Mooney. That's probably a name you haven't heard a long time in fantasy football. And then the tight end, Kyle Pitts. Interesting offense here. Last year, we mentioned it earlier, talking about Arthur Satan Smith, and they averaged 41.1 points per game as an offense. QB being the absolute worst. Somehow the tight end averaged 6.6. And I don't know, the running backs averaged 20.3. It's all the dump off passes from that offense. There's no way they averaged 10 points each. So they were both irrelevant for fantasy football.
Mm-hmm.
Now, knowing that we've had some changes in the offense, Dave, who would, if you're looking at this roster right now, let's say we're drafting right now, and you got a pick coming up, and you have to pick somebody from the Atlanta Falcons, who are you taking?
Bijan Robinson.
I like that. Bijan last season was his rookie season. We had a guy in our league pick him up, and he did really good for a little while. Then he did really bad. Then he did really good. Then he did really bad. It was absolute mayhem because Bijan, he started off hot, and then they're like, oh, we're not going to give him the ball anymore. Thanks, Arthur Smith. He did end the season at RB8, running back number 8. He averaged 14.5 points per game. He only had 4 touchdowns. That's where it comes.
Didn't he fumble the ball or something? And then that's what we talked about this a lot last year. He fumbled the ball like one time, and then he was like got put in the corner. Mm-hmm. He was being punished.
Yeah.
That's some college stuff, man. You don't do that in the NFL. Not season. That's crazy.
Yep.
So Bijan, he had 4 touchdowns last season. At the end of the season, he had 3 fumbles. He had 58 catches. This is where he got a lot of points. Not the running game, the passing game. He had 58 catches for 4 touchdowns and 487 yards. That's something you want to look at fantasy-wise. So Bijan Robinson, and then you got Tyler Algier back there as well. Let me see if I can get him pulled up. So Tyler Algier, he ended as RB36. Averaged only 8.1 points per game, and he had 4 touchdowns as well and 1 receiving touchdown, but he was more of a running back than he was a receiving back. So, Dave, Bijan Robinson, I think you're right. I think Bijan could have – I believe he's going to be the RB1. Algier is going to be the RB2. I think we'll see more of a showcasing of Bijan Robinson's talents, both receiving and running the ball. So I like that pick, Dave. I like Bijan Robinson.
I think they got an upgrade in quarterback, and Kirk Cousins is going to start. He's going to have to start, even if they put a robotic leg on him. How does he sit on the bench with what they're paying him? And but anyway, I think Bijan can be a top 5 this year.
It's possible. Potential's there. Brian, who are you taking?
Oh, I'm gonna take to all the reporters and all the boards. I'm taking Drake London. I don't know why, but everybody says he's a great receiver. So Drake London, I'm taking him in the first round. So if you're drafted before me, you better take Drake London before I do. I'm telling you that right now because everybody says he's the guy. So I'm not supposed to give secrets or anything. But listen, guys, Drake London is going to be a top receiver. So if you're in a draft with me and you're drafting, you better take Drake London because I'm getting him off the board and he's a stud. So
Drake London.
I believe you.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
I believe you. His value's going up this year.
But do you want to know what's funny? If you really go ahead and look at the top 10 receivers for this year, look where Drake London falls. And then you'll really say, oh, wow, I know it looked like he was joking, but he's serious. Trust me, I'm not joking.
I don't know what to think about you right now, Brian.
Drake Drake London is projected a top 10 receiver. Look it up.
He
He's not going to make it past the second round.
Listen, I'm letting you guys know because I'm equal opportunity. And I care about my fellow draftees. I'm telling you, if we're in a draft and you draft before me and he's on the board, you better get him. Drake London is a stud.
London is
his fantasy output is going to go up this year
because of Kirk Cousins.
I think that's a guarantee, as long as everybody's healthy. Of course, that always is a thing. Kyle Pitts could be a steal. I mean,
I would never take Kyle Pitts.
In later rounds.
He's a Florida Gator.
Oh God.
He is. I mean, they're trash in the NFL.
Drake London is a very interesting topic when it comes to fantasy this season. He obviously did not do too hot last season, but neither did anybody from the Atlanta Falcons, really. Drake London only averaged, let me get it. I had stats. There we go. Only averaged 10.8 points per game, only 69 catches on the year. Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Yep.
He played 16 games, 69 catches, 905 yards. So he had an average of 13 yards per catch, and he had 2 touchdowns. That's abysmal. And somehow he ends up as wide receiver 37. Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's insane. So you would think that, with Kirk Cousins being there, there should be improvement there. You have Darnell Mooney. He's not even really worth mentioning fantasy-wise. He's been irrelevant for a long time. He was super irrelevant last season. He was wide receiver 83 at the end of it all. Kyle Pitts is interesting. There was reports coming out that Kyle Pitts is practicing as wide receiver as well. But he's going to play tight end and wide receiver. He ended the season as tight end number 12, averaged 8.1 points per game, had 53 catches, and 667 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's not a credit to how good Kyle Pitts is. That's a credit to how bad the offense is. When your number 1 wide receiver on your team has almost the same stat line as your tight end, and everybody all season was like, why isn't Kyle Pitts getting the ball? I don't know. It was bad. So I would take, seeing what Kirk Cousins did with TJ Hawkinson last season, and he really did target TJ Hawkinson a lot. I like that. If Kirk Cousins is playing, I'm picking up Kyle Pitts.
I'm telling you, he could be a steal, Brian.
No,
Pick him up first round,
right.
everybody.
Trust me, if you're drafting before me and Kyle Pitts is on the board, you want to pick up Kyle Pitts. So listen, Drake London and Kyle Pitts, make sure you pick them up. Because my guys here are telling me that I'm silly, so I'm going to be drafting these guys. So if you want to keep me from winning, make sure you draft Drake London and Kyle Pitts. So if you have 12 and 13, get those 2 studs right there.
I feel like the value of the Atlanta Falcons has gone up this year.
Oh yeah.
Arthur Smith is gone. They brought in Cousins. We should see, hopefully, if God forbid, Bijan Robinson fumbles the ball again. Hopefully they'll let him keep playing because they need to. Jeez. But yeah.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts right now is being drafted 56 overall. So
and they're picking him in the 5th round?
Overall?
Yeah, 56.5. So very interesting. Very interesting thing here. Mm-hmm. I'm going to take Kyle Pitts. Dave says he's taking Bijan Robinson. Brian says he's taking Drake London.
Yep.
So we hit all 3. There we go. That's what I'd like to see. Yep. Now, let's move on to our next team. The last and final team, the Cleveland Browns. All right. Deshaun Watson in the QB position. He should be able to go, should be healthy this season. He had surgery. Actually, everybody was, giving him a lot of flack last season about all stuff because, the contract he got.
Oh, they were giving him a lot of flacco last season. You see what I did there?
That's a dad joke.
Yep.
Wow, dude.
But actually, Deshaun Watson was playing with a pretty serious injury. And so I'll give him props for that. He tried to stick it out. We'll see what he can do. Deshaun Watson. Oh, go ahead, Dave.
No, I was going to say Deshaun Watson. He may not go very high because he's coming off an injury and all that kind of stuff. But if he gets injured, listen, I'm just going to give you a tip right now. If he gets injured and Jameis Winston needs to start in his stead, then what you want to do is find out whatever defense is playing them, and that's because they're gonna get all the interceptions because that's what in Winston known for that, throwing completions to the defense.
Yep.
Yeah, Winston's there. That should be interesting. Deshaun Watson, we have Jerome Ford and possibly Nick Chubb coming back. We'll see.
Yeah.
We have Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Moore, and then David Njoku as their tight end. Interesting pieces here. Jerry Jeudy, they added him on in the offseason. Jerome Ford held the fort down when Nick Chubb had his leg basically taken off and he got beat with it. Poor guy. Well, for football, I hope he comes back. Just for that guy, I hope he's able to walk again and be normal and have a normal life. Terrible. That was one of the sickest injuries I've ever seen. But if you guys were in the draft right now and your pick is coming up, out of this team, you're looking at this offense, who in the world are you picking? Do you guys want me to read you some stats from the Cleveland Browns from last season first? You don't need them?
Nope.
Go for it. Let me hear it, Dave. Who are you
go,
picking?
Brian. I don't want to go first again. You guys laugh at me.
I'm going to take Amari Cooper. He's great. He's a dog. I mean, last year he had a good year. I know Jerry Jeudy isn't him, but Jerry Judy's a name on the other side. I think that's going to open it up for Amari Cooper. And I do think Watson, I think they got an offseason. I think he's going to be okay this year. And I just think Cooper's the guy. Like, I like him. I like him a lot. I think he's a good wide receiver too. Could slot in as a wide receiver 1, but Amari Cooper for me is an absolute take if he's there.
Yeah, Amari Cooper, 72 catches last season, 1,250 yards, and 5 touchdowns.
And that was with like 5 different quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a point to like, how do you say his name? Njoku?
David Njoku?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So last year, where was I reading this? I was looking at, if you look at his stats from last year, if you can go game by game, he shined with certain quarterbacks, but not with Watson.
Mm-hmm. It's true. Yeah.
So I think when Flacco was there,
he was a safety net. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was doing pretty good, or fantasy wise anyway. But so I don't know. I agree with you when it comes to Amari Cooper. Definitely, I'm not looking at any of the running backs.
Not yet.
Because ultimately, any one of them can be great. But I mean, I don't know. Are they going to be spreading it out and sharing touches with, you know, Jerome Ford, Nick Chubb, Deontay Foreman? I mean, fantasy wise, it might not be great.
No, you're right. Yep.
So I don't know. I agree with you on Amari.
Yep.
Yeah, David Njoku last season, he had a pretty decent season, but in the first 3 weeks, he didn't break 7 points. That's all he got in the first 3 weeks.
Wow.
And so it wasn't very good performances in total in those 3 weeks. He only had 11 targets in those first 3 weeks. And I can't remember if Deshaun Watson started all those 3, but that's a small sample size there. If we're looking at individual stats, David Njoku, I was trying to trade for him last season because he was doing absolutely phenomenal toward the end. He was averaging in the last few weeks. He was averaging 15, 20 points a game. It was wild. But he ended the season as tight end number 6. He had 81 catches for 882 yards and 6 touchdowns. So pretty good things. Now we look at Deshaun Watson, a small sample size, 6 games played. I know one of those games he didn't finish. Maybe 2 of them he didn't finish. But small sample size here. 6 games last season for 1,100 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions with a 61% completion rating, averaging 16.8 per game. Fantasy-wise, you don't want to draft him, but at least he's able to get the ball out to wide receivers, tight ends, so on and so on. But, man, looking at this offense, Amari Cooper is a good pick. Jerry Jeudy, Brian, I like that you mentioned him. Jerry Jeudy is interesting because, think about it. Jerry Jeudy got drafted to the Denver Broncos, didn't have a quarterback then. Russell Wilson comes along now, and the whole organization just fell apart at that time. So this is Jerry Jeudy's really – it's going to be his like a restart for him. Mm-hmm. And he's got a lot of talent. That guy was really good in college.
Do we know what college Amari Cooper went to?
Amari Cooper, wait a second. No.
Oh, he didn't go to Alabama?
I don't know.
Yeah, he did. Where did Jerry Jeudy go to college?
Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Jerry Jeudy, last season, imagine this, okay? Let's give Jerry Jeudy a break here. Last season, terrible offense.
Right.
Somehow, this guy managed 8.9 points per game, 54 catches, 758 yards, and 2 touchdowns on a very terrible offense. Pretty amazing on his part. I think, obviously, Amari Cooper and Njoku are my top 2 picks here. If I had to pick one, I like Njoku a lot. But if I'm in a deep league and Jerry Jeudy's there in the 7th or 8th round, I'm probably going to pick him up.
Yeah.
Stash him a little bit because he may be a potential sleeper or breakout player later on in the season. Anything else you guys want to say about the Cleveland Browns before we move on?
Just to reiterate, Amari Cooper, I mean, with as good as he did, 4 different quarterbacks he was catching balls from last year.
Yep.
So that kind of proves that it doesn't really matter who is throwing him the ball. As long as they're throwing it to him, he's going to do good. Mm-hmm. I think he would be a safe pick.
Yep.
All right. Let's go. I'm going to give you guys some players, and you guys tell me which one you would rather have. All right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go with George Pickens or Drake London.
Drake London.
Yep.
Wow.
Drake London.
Wow. Oh, this is good. Okay.
Even though I don't think Brian is being serious, I am. I still haven't figured you out yet.
That was a serious face. I saw it in his eyes.
Bro, you can tell I'm telling you to look it up. There's reports. Drake London is the guy.
Yeah.
It's all in the delivery.
Amari Cooper or DK Metcalf?
Oh, Amari.
Dave?
Hang on. I have to do some research.
Oh,
Amari Cooper. Yeah, no, Amari Cooper. I had to remind myself who the quarterback was in Seattle.
Oh, man. All right. Let's go Bijan Robinson.
Yes.
Or Jerome Ford.
Bijan.
Bro, that you can't. Come on.
I'm going off the teams that we picked so far. Jerome Ford, if Nick Chubb's not there, Jerome Ford's the only running back that we know of. So we got Bijan or Jerome Ford.
Bijan Robinson, dude.
Tyler Algier.
I see what you did there, Brian. I see what you did. Okay. Dave, you pulling something up? You doing research?
Yeah, I'm fixing to ask you a question.
Okay.
Oh, boy. This should be good.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
Give me a minute. Talk amongst yourselves for a minute. Okay.
Oh.
Noah Fant or
Kyle Pitts, Pat Freiermuth,
Adam Trotman.
What?
Wait, who was the first one?
It's not.
I'll take Noah Fant.
Yeah, it's not relevant versus we never heard of him competition. Like what
he said Troutman.
All right, Noah Fant for real now. Or Pat Freiermuth.
Moo. I'll take Pat.
Yeah, I would go Pat Freiermuth there. You got more, Dave?
Yeah, I can come up with something else.
Okay.
Jerry Jeudy or Darnell Mooney?
Jerry Jeudy.
Okay. DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett? This is fun.
Tyler Lockett.
All right, I'm done. I'm done.
All right. How many more teams we got left, guys?
6. And then
6 more.
And then we're done.
All right.
Next show.
We'll cover those 6 teams on the next show. We have a we'll have a mock draft coming up pretty soon that we'll do. That'll be fun. We'll have rankings. We're gonna do our rankings of quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends as well. We might do some sleeper picks and whatnot. We got a lot of stuff to do before our draft happens. We have less than 45 days until our draft, so we'll see what happens. But if you guys are not following us on all of our social media, please do so at The Bobby Drew Show. We're on all of them. Just go in there, search it, like, subscribe, follow, share. We'll be here all season long. We'll do at least one show a week. Hopefully we'll be able to squeeze in 2, but at least 1 show a week. All right, anything you guys want to say about anything before Dave? No? You sure? Why do you look so disappointed?
I'm still upset y'all laughed at me earlier.
It's okay, Dave. You're okay. You're right. Arthur Smith is known for running things into the ground.
Yeah. Arthur Smith is known for running out of the building because he just got fired.
Yeah.
It's okay, though.
It's all right, Dave. You're all good. All right, guys. Well, that's the Bobby Drew Show. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you next time, and God bless.